All right, welcome back to day number 2 of Southeast Asia NFT Week. Southeast Asia NFT Week is brought to you by Access Blockchain Association of Malaysia, followed by its many media partners, including Bitcoin Malaysia, Blocklime, TalkChain, ETH Grenade, Ad Media, DeFi Singapore, and Imperium Universe. So, what is Southeast Asia NFT Week? Southeast Asia NFT Week is a part of a larger event called Malaysia Blockchain Month. A total of 6 weeks of daily content on the week, every Monday to Friday, every single day. Just 1 hour every single day from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. And we have already covered 2 weeks, all right? The first week was everything to do about the developments in this region, right? The second is on DeFi, which we have people like Aave, we have people like Cheetah, we have people like t- t- what's we had people okay like we had a lot. We had a lot because Zapper, right? And week number 3, we covered NFTs, which is this week. Week number 4, enterprise blockchain. Week number 5, we're having a lot of boot camps, okay, to train the talent up in this region. And we're ending Malaysia Blockchain Month with week number 6, a 2-day conference called Ignite. Wow, 6 weeks of events. That's a lot. Why are we doing this event? Well, as a association, part of our mandate and mission is to grow the industry. And how we're going to do that is by continuing to defomo, defund the space, educate, and help more and more people to experience, adopt, and enjoy the technology that is already available in this industry. What kind of industry are we looking at? We're looking at an industry where digital assets exist on the internet. They live on the internet, and they on these decentralized networks called blockchains. Now, if you add them all up, right? Okay, this industry hits $1 trillion at the beginning of this year. This is a milestone, which is like before that, people just only wish it was a dream. And it took 12 years in the making. This industry is 12 years old. It took 12 years to hit this 1 trillion. But guess what? Just 9 months in, September, we are already at $2 trillion. In fact, I think, okay, right now it is at $2.4 trillion. What's another 400 billion? Well, that is just a year ago, the entire industry was only 200 billion only. So you could see this industry is fast growing and really, really, attracting a lot of attention. The question is, how are you preparing yourself? Are you able to capture opportunities in this space um, for yourself, for Malaysia, for the region in Southeast Asia? And this, whatever you see here on CoinGecko, does not include the digital asset, okay, that is NFTs, because all these are fungible tokens. So the topic for this week is NFTs. What are NFTs? NFTs are non-fungible tokens. That's why they're called NFTs. And what they basically are digital tokens that are minted and secured by a blockchain, which gives anything unique a digital identity. So, for example, you could give a piece of art like a JPEG, or you could give a piece of text file, or in-game items, property, and existence on what we call the Web3, which is the internet, but in the decentralized space. So we have a lot of content for you this week. Yesterday, we kicked off with, from an artist's point of view, how is it that NFTs are unlocking and like giving such an unprecedented opportunity for artists to get their work out there, right? To be known. Now is the best time to actually build yourself a reputation, because there's a lot of attention in NFTs for artists. Today, we are taking a turn into looking into a game. And what game is that we're looking at? We're looking at an NFT game that has been around in development for close to 18 months. I would say 18 months. That's right. More than a year. Right. And that is Aavegotchi. What is Aavegotchi? Aavegotchi is a digital pet game, right, that exists on the Ethereum sidechain Polygon. So you have these digital pets called gotchis, and you can pet them, make them happy. You can play with them using these community built games, such as this platformer or this game that reminisces, okay, the time of Snake in our mobile phones, or even this really cool reverse Pac-Man, all built by the community. What also makes Aavegotchi is very interesting is that every single Aavegotchi is an NFT, and in it, each Aavegotchi is backed by actual money, digital assets. Like for example, this Harley Quinn is backed by some uni, right? This one is backed by some Wi-Fi tokens. This one is backed by some Chainlink tokens. Thus, each NFT inherently is worth money, and it makes a very interesting way to hodl cryptocurrency assets apart from just hodling in your wallet. The first edition of Aavegotchi's, okay, of 10,000 was launched back in March, and it sold out under a minute. And since then, these Aavegotchis in the marketplace have been doing quite well. I think the lowest price Aavegotchi is fetching uh, between 500 to 600 ghosts right now, and it's quite a very very good turn, okay, for those people, for those early backers. In fact, another thing, okay, about Aavegotchi, the game, is that makes it interesting that this is a game that is governed by a DAO, which means that the community decides the important decisions. Like for example, the with the initial 10,000 gotchis, the first edition, how many more gotchis should exist in the gotchiverse? So this recently Aavegotchi completed second release, okay, edition number 2 called Horn 2 of 15,000 gotchis, and that was voted by the community in a uh in a form, that you need to stake, okay, ghost tokens in order to vote, collect all the votes in order to decide what should be the next supply and distribution, okay, of these gotchis that should come into existence. Also very interesting is that this launch was done very differently from the first launch, because the first launch, within 1 minute, everything was sold out. A lot of people felt, they missed the opportunity. Whereas in this second launch, something very interesting happened. The Aavegotchi team did it in a way that it was done via what we call a GBM auction, where people can place bids, okay, on wanting to get a new Aavegotchi portal, and if you happen to lose the bid, you make money along the way. That is interesting because when we look at these NFT launches, right, they very often, okay, you have to result in gas wars. Uh, the people, okay, end up losing a lot of money, but you don't have this, okay, in this situation. Instead, you have people making money. So it's very, very interesting. So today there are 25,000 gotchis in the universe, and very interesting also is that the current game mechanic is kind of like a collectible type of game, right? Where you need to dress up your gotchi, you need to take care of your gotchi, make your gotchi really happy, and in return, every season there is this rarity farming, okay, season where 40% of the revenue that is earned, okay, through that goes into Aavegotchi protocol goes back to players, which is very different from, say, traditional games like Pokemon or whatnot. You don't see this happening where money, okay, that is earned by the game actually goes back to players. But soon, even this might change with the upcoming reveal of the Gotchi First that Aavegotchi is building, a place called Realm, and a place where basically the Aavegotchis can live, right? They can play, and there's going to be a lot of people are excited about this, including myself. What is in store? Okay, play to earn mechanics that might kick in when Aavegotchi is launched. So without further ado, all right, we have one of the co-founders of Aavegotchi with us today. His name is Jesse, Golden, aka Golden Cross. Jesse, thank you so much for being here. Welcome, okay, to the show.
Hi, Jason. Thanks for having me. And
So,
thanks for, yeah, very nice overview of the project right there. That was really quite insightful. And I think it was a great high level overview of what we're trying to do.
so a lot of things, okay, has happened to Aavegotchi. Um, I felt like I really wanted to give like the audience a really shortcut, get up to speed. so that we can cover, what is exciting, okay, moving forward, right? So, now, Jesse, one of the things that attracted me to the Aavegotchi project, okay, is that with this realm slated for a Q4 release this year, right, which is only just a few months away, right, Aavegotchi seems to be one of those projects that ships product out really, really quickly. Almost every month, I would say that every month or almost every week, there is an update from the Aavegotchi team. Can you share with the audience um, what is different about Aavegotchi's, approach compared to other NFT games like, say, Sandbox or Decentraland?
Yeah. So the dev team and what we're building, I guess our approach, I can't speak for Sandbox. I'm not super familiar with their dev cycle, but our approach is extreme or radical transparency. So we are always building and always shipping and always iterating. And so from the very earliest stages when the first Aavegotchis, like even before they came out for the mainnet sale in March that you mentioned, people were already interacting with Aavegotchis on the Ethereum testnet. And so we wanted to battle test, find bugs, and let people get used to how to play with this kind of NFT even before the real NFTs went live. And when it comes to the Gotchiverse realm, this kind of DeFi RPG like overworld game we're building, it's much the same where you'll definitely be able to experience portions of that in the testnet iteration before we get to mainnet. And then even once it goes live, we're shooting to have the first part of the world live this year, say uh, mid to late December, no exact date yet. But that part won't be the whole virtual world, so to speak. It'll be like the what we call the Citadel. It'll be this kind of peaceful first part of the world. And then as we get into Q1, we can open it up with new gameplay mechanics. Enemies will be introduced, competition, and you'll kind of see the Citadel drawbridge go down, and then we'll be ready to explore a wider world together. Almost like it's almost like a sequel, but the sequel is baked into, it's just the next iteration of the game. And so the great benefits of this is you get the community feedback in real time. If things
Hmm.
need to be adjusted or changed, then you get to do that on the fly. And it also just stays in line with the whole idea of decentralization and a community owned and community governed game. So you mentioned that we run on a DAO, and the DAO controls the scarcity and the supply of Aavegotchis. They also have a big say in some of the other gameplay mechanics, and increasingly so. So it's really cool that, if we're building that kind of game, then it just makes sense that we kind of build it in public. We don't hide it behind a closed door and wait for the big trade show to do a big release. It's more like coming out in stages. And I think we just published our kind of mini roadmap for the rest of the year called 120 Days of Aavegotchi. And we show some screenshots of what we're working on there. And we also kind of mapped out the various other verticals we're working on inside the Aavegotchi ecosystem. Because the game is kind of central, but there's other parts to the game and to the whole Aavegotchi ecosystem that we can't neglect. And the cool part is the Aavegotchi community gets to directly influence all of these different areas inside the wider ecosystem. So whether it's the token, whether it's the Aavegotchis and the petting and the different functionality of the crypto pet itself, or the mini games that are being built for them to play in, um, everybody gets to contribute as much as they want. There's no limits, and that's really exciting when you get a enthusiastic group of people together to create something together.
All right. Okay. So here's something very interesting. So Aavegotchi is a game that is developed. The core developers are Pixelcraft Studio. Is that correct?
Right, right.
And then what happens is that you choose to decentralize the project with the launch of the Ghost token, and then the Ghost back in October last year, right? And then the Ghost token holders then can participate in the DAO, right? Where these decisions. So um, it has been a year. Can you share with the audience what decisions has the DAO made to date that has changed the game significantly? Can you give some examples?
Yeah, so I believe there's been eight, no, sorry, 11 what we call AGIPs or Aavegotchi improvement proposals that have passed. And so we use a lot of the kind of standards that exist in the space today for decentralized governance. There's a cool website called Snapshot. If the audience here is curious about crypto and wanting to learn about DAOs, I would definitely check out Snapshot. It's a relatively simple application that just checks your balance in your wallet to discern your voting power. And then you can go and you can basically write a blog post, a proposal. It looks like a blog post, and
Mhm.
have some options at the end, multiple choice. And if it hits quorum, you get enough of the community to rally around that and vote yes or no, then it could be enacted. And it's more of a signaling type of application that we use. And a lot of programs are using a lot of different dApps. So we've had 11 that have passed. They have to go through two levels. The first level is a signal proposal. Anybody can make one. If it passes there, it goes up to a higher threshold, and that's if it passes there, it's called a core proposal, and it gets enacted. And basically, as Pixelcraft Studios, right now, it's our job to follow through on anything that passes the core proposal level, and that includes 11 things like um, well, the big one was the Haunt 2 issuance. Should there be a second Haunt? And the cool thing about our DAO, unlike a lot of DAOs I see out there, it's not a rubber stamp. Like the first time the Haunt 2 was proposed and debated, it got through the signal proposal, or it went as a core proposal, I believe, and it didn't reach consensus. It fell
Oh,
through. Yeah. And that was about 2.5 months after the first Haunt of Aavegotchis were released. Some people were unable to get one. The price floor was too high. And yet, it ended up after the rigorous debate not passing, even though in that case I personally endorsed the idea. I thought, I saw a lot of people going without Aavegotchis that had been in the community for 6 months already. So I thought it made sense. But maybe it was for the better. The DAO and the wisdom of the crowd said, no, let's wait. We got till midsummer and early July. Momentum really built for, okay, there's enough, the space has matured, the dev team has delivered a lot of things on the roadmap. Let's try Haunt 2 for a vote again. And this time it was overwhelmingly, almost unanimous, to create a second Haunt of Aavegotchis. So that's one big one. Others include just recently we furthered our decentralization. And so there's the first established committee where we'll have a committee of 8 longtime Aavegotchi members, not associated with Pixelcraft Studios. These are people who hold Ghost, who have Aavegotchis, who are passionate about the project and reliable. And so they're going to hold the first seats on this committee. And the committee will take care of monitoring and adjusting the loyalty points program we have called Friends. So if you stake
mm,
your Ghost, you can earn Friends points. And so that's really cool. We're going to see more committees in the future. And we like to say our DAO's on a roadmap. Right now, we're in the cocoon. So we're experimenting with models that work, and we can tweak them as we go. Nothing's kind of solidified, but we're all working and learning together on what makes the most sense.
got
So
it.
yeah, pretty excited about that part of the project because ultimately we want to get it where it's all smart contracts, self-executing votes, and Pixelcraft can really just be one of many supporting dev teams.
Right. So I think that is pretty cool because this is kind of like consistent with the ethos of why Ethereum even exists in the first place. I think that it was quoted somewhere before that the reason why Vitalik created Ethereum is because he was playing his favorite game, World of Warcraft, right? And they suddenly the games devs suddenly decided, okay, to nerf, right, to significantly reduce the powers, okay, of the abilities, okay, of his favorite warlock. Did you know
Right.
that?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, they nerfed
So
his warlock.
they nerfed his warlock, and then and that's the reason why he got inspired, okay, to create Ethereum. So you were talking about, okay, that Aavegotchi is continuously improving, okay, is decentralization. Has there been one decision made by the DAO that personally initially, okay, it is not consistent with what you want, but it got, okay, the approval uh because of the community?
Yeah, I guess the only one where I was like, "Oh, we're actually at odds here," was the Haunt 2 the first time around. And by the end of it, they had convinced me. I was like, "Okay, they're actually maybe they're right." And So I love that part. It's a conversation. It's not like a one-way street at all, and it's definitely not a rubber stamp. So yeah, DAOs can be very powerful.
I like it. That's next. I have another question. This one I'm going to pivot into uh the 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 other thing, okay, which is that um OpenSea. Yesterday we
Mhm.
shared, okay, a report that OpenSea reported a record of 3 billion uh 3 billion dollars of trading volume in just the month of August, right? Which is like 10x of that from the previous month, which is 300 million. So they reported 3 billion. So a very common question that I get a lot is that why does Aavegotchi have its own bazaar? What is the reason for building its own marketplace instead of being traded on OpenSea?
Right. So when you have a NFT project, you can think about a few different models that can support that project. And um, in fact, when we originally envisioned the Aavegotchi ecosystem, we were completely focused on the character themselves being a fully functionable, playable NFT, like intrinsically, and then creating a world of mini games and experiences around it extrinsically. In the NFT marketplace, we always assumed we would trade on OpenSea. Well, that's before like we thought OpenSea on Polygon would be up and ready to go at the same time we launched on the Polygon network. And so all Aavegotchis exist natively on Polygon network, and OpenSea does as well. But when we launched, it really was still in beta and it wasn't quite up and running. So we had a choice. If you can't trade your NFTs and exchange them in a smooth way, then half the fun of having an NFT is kind of out the window. So we
Right.
had to take an extra month and a half and build a kind of skeletal NFT marketplace that was just for Aavegotchis, the Aavegotchi clothing and wearables, all the various game items. And I'm glad we did because it's ended up being the number one volume NFT marketplace on Polygon month over month, continues to grow. It's not quite at those incredible OpenSea numbers you just quoted, but still very, very good. And I think it's only going to continue to grow. And we can actually use that as a revenue sharing model again to support the DAO treasury. The DAO treasury earns off of every single trade, and as does Pixelcraft, and then there's a slight burn as well. So you can basically you have more control over the incentives and the sharing models if you have your own marketplace. With OpenSea, I understand, yeah, you can have your own royalties as well, but it's you have less control when you're not the one building the smart contracts. So yeah, we're very happy with what we've got and continue to refine it, add more filters. Maybe someday we'll even onboard more projects to welcome them to the bazaar, but that's maybe a little bit down the road.
Okay. Here's another very popular question, which is that um, I'm quite happy that we are at this point because about maybe a year ago, we were still talking about or dreaming about interoperability and a multi-chain future. Whereas now in 2021, we're already starting to see the multi-chain future becoming a reality, right? So my question is, why is Aavegotchi sticking only to Ethereum sidechain Polygon for now?
Right. So the kind of two parts. The reason we decided to start there and have existed there is that Polygon is extremely interoperable with Ethereum mainnet. And we knew that would be important because of the nature of an Aavegotchi, where you need to stake Aave tokens inside of it. So we always thought that, we looked at all the options and we thought, well, this one has Polygon has the highest chance perhaps that Aave would actually come over because we can see how that would work in a technical sense. The interoperability is there, the composability, and we actually had to build our own bridge for Aave A tokens for the first few months. That's why
Mm,
Haunt One has MA tokens, MA
Ma
tokens.
tokens.
Yes, and then the new Haunt 2, now that Aave is natively deployed on Polygon, we can use their native Polygon system AM tokens. So a little weird there, but it's also pretty cool that that's kind of why we had to do that, and it worked out just how we predicted. The second part is we are very cozy on Polygon. The system's working well. The RPCs have improved tremendously from the early days. The MetaMask UI and all of it's way, way better. So it's really like not that painful at all to move over. The friction is getting better every day, like reducing. But we just talked about OpenSea. We just talked about interoperability, multi-chain. We believe in that as well. And that's why I'm very excited to report. I just got off a call with the devs and we're getting super, super close to our final blocker being eliminated so that we can deploy our own ERC 721 and an ERC 1155 NFT bridges from Polygon back to Ethereum. And what that'll do is now we have a much higher supply of Aavegotchis as of last week's Haunt 2 arriving. Now they have more places to go. So if you want to move your Aavegotchis over to OpenSea, Rarible, maybe further markets in the future on the Ethereum side, you'll be able to do that. And we're just probably weeks away at the most from that happening. I'd say maybe within this month. So super excited about the progress on that front. And what will happen is the reason you're on Polygon is because you want to pet your Aavegotchi, you want to change its clothes, you want all of that is on-chain transactions. You don't want to spend $50 to pet your Aavegotchi once. That would be really, really rough. And so what will happen is you're going to be able to bridge your Aavegotchi over to Ethereum. And there's an instance we're adding called a pet operator so that you will be able to continue to pet your Aavegotchi from afar. You can pet it on while it's locked in the bridge on Polygon side, but it actually is existing and bridged over to Ethereum. So long story short, bridge your Aavegotchi and still be able to pet it without the $50 fee. So that's going to be a game changer for people wanting to bring their Aavegotchis over and not lose all that kinship score from their lack of petting.
Really cool. Now, let's talk about Realm. Okay. So with Realm, basically, Aavegotchis are going to have a place where they can live, they can explore, they can roam around. How would the gaming experience be different this time once Realm is launched?
Yeah, we're shooting to make it like a true AAA kind of gaming experience. There's also a ton of indie games and mini games being made around the Aavegotchis. Those will launch and be hosted in something called the Arcade. Of course, it's spelled with 2 A's. But the Realm, that's going to be kind of pixel crafts. That's where we're putting all our energy. We've expanded the team dramatically, brought on industry vets from the game side, former Capcom, former first-person shooters, arcades, all those guys are now on our team and building something really special. So I don't know if I can share my screen, but like we just released a recent screenshot so we can see, oh yeah, there it is. Like this is kind of an early concept art of what we're doing every day in the background right now. And what you see is a couple of Aavegotchis running around on their vaporwave world, the Realm. And you might be wondering what all that pixelated kind of purple pink stuff is. And it's actually like a river of one of the 4 main chemicals of the world. So part of the game is like you want to gather and farm Alchemica. And one of them is this purple, indicated by these purple pink residues called kek. So of course it references some of our favorite humor. You know, Aavegotchis are full of humor. So it's FOMO, FUD, kek, and alpha. Those are the 4 things you're trying to gather.
FOMO,
And,
FUD, kek, and alpha. Okay.
Yeah. And what we're looking at here is some kek, a river stream of kek. And the way you're going to, one of the ways you play the game is you want to explore the world and pick up like drops of kek and FOMO. You want to find them on the ground. So it's almost like a super large version of Pac-Man where you're racing around trying to gather this stuff up. Or It's kind of like kids on the playground playing tag. So you're trying to grab it before somebody else does. And this is what will come in Q1 of next year, the kind of battle mode where you are competing with your fellow Aavegotchi citizens in real time to compete and race for these various tokens on the surface, because they're all ERC20 tokens, all 4 of them. So we're introducing 4 new ERC20 tokens that you can farm passively from your parcel, your land parcel, or you can go and explore and find it by exploring the world. So here we're visiting a Keck stream and we're experimenting with all the different gameplay mechanics that can go into a kind of melee, real time battle type of game, adventure mode.
Okay, so once Realm is launched, Aavegotchis have a place to live, and there will be four new ERC20 tokens. These represent the chemicals called Alchemica, right? That Aavegotchis can farm in this new virtual realm. What can players do once they have farmed, okay, these Alchemica tokens like Alpha, FUD, FOMO, and Keck?
Right. So this is where I feel like we are almost making a new genre of game because it's part adventure action platformer, but it's also part like casual mobile game, a la Clash of Clans. If you've ever played Clash of Clans, Bomb Beach, these kind of games where you have a plot and you're building it up in like a real time strategy type of way. So what you're going to do is you want to get these four different Alchemica so you can create different recipes or you meet the recipe's demands and craft various installations to put on your land parcel, your realm parcel. So you're building up your parcel by you farm it, you use it to build something better, you farm more, you upgrade it, and that's kind of the model you're going to be doing. And the cool thing is each installation you craft is an NFT in and of itself. So you're literally stacking NFTs on top of NFTs to farm Alchemica, and there's a social aspect to it. Like one of the installations you can build is a radio tower. If you unlock that, if you install that, then you can unlock like voice over IP. You can do real time voice chat. The more you upgrade, the more you expand your range. Next thing you know, you've got a radio show broadcasting to the entire realm. So it's going to be really, really cool. There's like social art gallery style show off your NFT type installations, and then farming installations, harvesters, storage units, that kind of thing.
Right.
So,
So
yeah,
I can say that Alpha, FOMO, FUD, and Keck are like the building blocks, the ingredients that allows the players to then build stuff, okay, more stuff in the Aavegotchi realm.
exactly, exactly. So trying to play with, gamify DeFi in every way we can.
So in the Aavegotchi game, there's the core game, which is the build, the farming, etc. What about the community built games? You recently organized a game jam. How did that go?
Yeah, we it just finished yesterday, and it was amazing. I think 25 entries, completed entries, were submitted with demo videos of their games, all created in the first week of September. We opened it up as it's at jam.aavegotchi.com. I think the page is still up. You can see everything. I think we're going to update that with the videos of all the different demos, so you'll be able to see that. It's also on our Twitter right now, and kind of a highlight reel of all the different games that were developed. And obviously, in a week, you can't build a full like 40-hour gameplay type of game, but you can do so much that I mean, yeah, we were blown away with what came out of 5 days. We had incredible sponsors with Morales, which is a very powerful tool for NFT developers. Polygon Studios supported, and so what we came out with was a mix. About 50% were our high IQ developer community that already exists within the Aavegotchi Discord. There's a role you can get called architects, and I mean they've built dApps around Aavegotchis, other mini games previously, and they came out and forced to compete in this for the cash prizes, significant prizes. But then the exciting part is we were also hoping to attract, and we did attract, a lot of non-crypto indie game developers who are curious and hearing about NFTs and saw this as a first opportunity to come in and bring their talent to learn how to, put an NFT into the games they're building. And so I'm very, very optimistic for the future of not just Aavegotchi NFT based games, but NFT gaming in general. We're not far away from it dominating the gaming industry's conversation. The next 6 to 12 months are going to be very exciting.
All right. So Aavegotchi realm. Okay. So Aavegotchi currently in its current form is kind of like a collectible game mechanic. How would Realm, once Realm launches, how would Realm change this?
So it doesn't take away from what the Aavegotchi is intrinsically. It's always your crypto pet, much like a Tamagotchi. You can pet it every day, change its clothes, upgrade it, earn XP to level up. All of that continues. And for some people, that's the game they want to play. Not everybody is going to want to play a DeFi RPG. Not everybody's going to want to play a crypto pet. So there's something for everybody. And the power of NFTs is that they're interoperable. You can, in theory, you're supposed to be able to take the sword you earned from this game and bring it over to another community that's built another game around those items. And that's exactly what we're doing with Aavegotchi. So these mini games I just mentioned, they'll take when you plug in your Aavegotchi to play the game, it'll tell you in real time, like, oh, if your traits are this way, then your game experience will be a certain way. If your traits are in the opposite direction, you're going to find a different gameplay experience. Like maybe you get more weapons or more enemies or things move faster. These are the really cool things that people are building around the Aavegotchi and its personality traits. And for the realm, we're going to incorporate all these different things. Like if your Aavegotchi has a certain wearable on, it may gain access to a certain part of the world or a secret dungeon, or if it could have a social component. Like if you and me have Aavegotchis that are both wearing the same equipped wearables, that could have an effect. There's a lot of cool things we can do that let them play off of each other. So what you do with your Aavegotchi outside the game may affect how it enjoys its time inside the realm.
So I'm reading the Aavegotchi light paper, and in the new narrative of the Aavegotchi realm, there are these villains called liquidators. Who are the liquidators?
So the liquidator is kind of what I was hinting at when I said there'll be a second phase of the game in Q1 of next year and the drawbridge comes down. So the Citadel is like your home base. That's your safe zone. You're just farming, doing social activities, building up your first batch of Alchemica, right? Your stacks and your bags. But then once we move out into the outside world, that's when we introduce a new playable character. So they are called liquidators. They look like cute robots with really long tongues, literally living up to the name liquidator. And what these guys do are they compete with the Aavegotchis for those surface level Alchemica. And who would be a liquidator? Usually it would be somebody who doesn't own an Aavegotchi, but wants to own an Aavegotchi or wants to play in the Aavegotchi's world. And so what we're introducing is what I think will be something that is quite powerful. It's an NFT that is not obsessed with scarcity because like the whole point of an NFT is it proves digital scarcity. It's kind of like the first use case of an NFT. But actually, if you put that to the side, you could just use the NFT as an access token to access something like the realm. So what we plan to do is make these very like almost on a faucet. We can airdrop them. We can partner with different projects and give them away. And we will be able to let everybody get their hands on a liquidator. And what you do is you use that liquidator, you plug into the realm, and suddenly you're able to compete alongside Aavegotchis to try to scoop up as much Alchemica as you can, race back to your save point, get that Alchemica in your wallet before an Aavegotchi comes along and liquidates the liquidator. So
Wow.
it's almost like almost a free to play or nearly free way to play the game and get yourself introduced to see what is everybody talking about. What is this DeFi RPG that's going on? So it's going to be a great tool for adoption, I think, and letting everybody have a chance to come in and experience what we're building.
Okay, so now I see that there are questions coming in already, but before I go into the questions, I want to reiterate a very important disclaimer that which is that none of the content shared by the speaker or myself today, should be treated as financial advice, right? That is a very important thing. All right.
Yes.
So please, treat this as a completely free resource, to learn about DeFi, to get yourself educated. So now, okay, you can ask all the questions, that you want. All right. Let's go. Wow. All right. So the first questions is from Afik Yusuf. any possibility that Realm can somehow become like The Sims?
That's interesting. We've looked at a lot of different games and models, and I guess in some way, if you're familiar with The Sims, it is a little bit like that. With The Sims, you have your parcel, you build your house up, then you live in it. Um, so yeah, in some way, I mean, you're going to have your parcel, and you're going to be able to decorate it, build a design, and install various NFT installations to your, you're going to customize the heck out of it. So yeah, in that
Right.
sense, it's all about user generated content. That plays a huge part.
Right. So Polia, I think, is asking for some alpha here. Here, uh, Polia is asking, is there any advantage since you were talking about land? Okay, is there any advantage? What are the benefits of getting a land early?
Yeah. So I guess the advantage of owning a realm parcel would be that you can farm from it. And we have two kind of immediate ways to extract Alchemica from your parcel. So the first way is called Alchemica Channeling. And what this is when you get a parcel, you have a little altar on the parcel. That's your first installation. And the Aavegotchi ghost will go over to its altar and spend some of its kinship. We talked about if you pet your Aavegotchi, it gets really happy with you and your kinship rises. And this is actually going to have a cool function where if you want to, you can cash in some of that kinship to extract some of the Alchemica immediately in real time from the parcel. So that's pretty cool. And then the other way is once you get enough Alchemica, you build your first harvester, and that's when you can start harvesting. You have a FOMO harvester or whatever one you want, and then you can start that way passively. So the advantage is you can start farming sooner than others, and maybe corner the FOMO market if you can really move fast on the right one.
So this is a very interesting question, okay, from FTitch. Um, I think it's interesting. It's quite common because Axie Infinity has got so much attention and success recently. What's the core element that makes Aavegotchi stand out from existing top games like Axie Infinity?
Yeah, they're very different games. Axie does a lot of things very, very well. I guess the thing about Aavegotchi you want to know going into it is if you're interested in DeFi, if you're curious about smart contracts, then you probably are going to enjoy Aavegotchi because with what we try to do is make DeFi accessible, try to make crypto accessible, but also like um, we're running to crypto instead of running away from it. We're not trying to abstract away the blockchain. It's like we're here to celebrate blockchains, smart contracts, decentralization. So if you're curious about DAOs, on-chain artwork, everything that I see as good about what's happening in the space, then we're experimenting with all of those in through this medium that is Aavegotchi. So it's a game for people that are really excited and passionate about putting their wallets to use, using their MetaMask in new ways, whether it's staking, earning, farming, and competing. So it's really different in that sense. I think it's like
And
a
having
pure
fun.
crypto. Yeah, have fun exploring what crypto can be. I've had so many people tell me that the first time they staked a coin, which is just a fancy way to say they deposited their tokens into a smart contract, which is quite intimidating, quite scary the first time you do it. Could get liquidated, all that kind of stuff. We have a very simple and safe way to do that with a one-sided staking. There's no liquidation. You just earn loyalty points called friends. And I've had numerous people tell me, that's the first time I ever dared to do that. I approved my token and staked. And so I think that's a really cool thing about Aavegotchi is you kind of touch all the different aspects of the space that are evolving so much in the last couple of years.
That's really interesting. I would like to see more universities actually incorporate Aavegotchi in their syllabus.
Yeah.
So, Pals asked the question, wondering if Aavegotchi would someday venture out from Ethereum Matic Network.
Yeah. I mean, right. It's only if it solves a problem, right? So right now it's hard enough to get everybody on. All the tools we need are on Polygon, and so we're very happy there. If we were to move, we have to check is there for example, Chainlink VRF is a random number generating oracle that we use. It only, to my knowledge, is on Ethereum and Polygon, maybe on Avalanche now. I'm not 100% on that. But those are the kind of things we'd have to go down the checklist. Like, is Aave deployed there? Is Chainlink VRF deployed there? If not, we have to either cut out aspects of the experience that are pretty well established, so no hurry on that. Our hurry is to build an awesome game and develop what's already got a lot of momentum on Polygon. I don't see a reason to rush that, but multi-chain world also, I also see that. So
Mashat, celebrity chef in Malaysia, is in the house. He asked the question: some people are having sometimes some problems with the Matic network, failed transactions, which can be stressful. Are you aware of this? And is there any comments from either the Aavegotchi or the Matic team?
yeah, so very aware whenever the network is running a little funky. Part of the reason, and a very brief technical explanation, is that you have the blockchain, and then there's the graph that usually is like the way you communicate with the blockchain, keep track for your front end. And Polygon has really fast block times, like 3 seconds, which is very different than something like Ethereum. So the graph sometimes loses sync with it, and that's when we have issues. But the graph and the competitors to the graph are working overtime to, there's a lot of value in solving that problem. So I think it's still occasionally an issue, but it's happening less and less, and I expect it to be something we don't even have to talk about in the very near future. So, but yeah, that can be annoying. I'm like petting my Aavegotchi, and in fact, you have communicated with the blockchain, you have pet it, but it's not being relayed to the UI, and that has happened a couple of times. So, yeah, very aware of it, and we have constant communication with all the different infrastructure teams, and what I can say is I feel very reassured that they're taking it extremely seriously and figuring out ways to make it better all the time.
Cool.
Good
We
question.
have two questions, both about the history of Aavegotchi, right? So Aziz Kevin asks, how would you advise someone who is starting out in developing an NFT game? What should the thought process be? Should the characters be the starting point?
I love this kind of question because this is kind of like the questions you should be asking, and as a founder or someone who wants to create a project. And so I know when we started, we asked a couple different questions. Aavegotchi was a bit of a sequel to some of the work with NFTs my team had done previously. We were the first ones to take an ERC721, an NFT, and stake a specific ERC20 token into it. So like wrapping ERC20s with an NFT. And it's a very powerful idea. And we wanted to go further with it. And that's how we wanted to involve Aave and have a piggy bank NFT basically that could generate yield. So that was one question, is what else is available in the space that isn't being utilized by people but should be? And it was like, we could be wrapping ERC20s, basically value from the blockchain, inside an NFT. Wouldn't that be interesting? What could you do with that? So that was one question we were answering. And then like, what is a real crypto pet? We'd heard of this subcategory of NFTs with like first gen, like crypto kitties is probably the most famous one. And I always felt like, well, it doesn't really live up to the term crypto pet because I don't have any attachment with my crypto kitties. I take them out once every 3 to 5 months, and it's to sell on OpenSea or to show my friend at a birthday party. But I'm not like continuous, like that's not a pet. A pet, you see it every day and you have an emotional attachment. And it's because of the frequency with which you interact with it. So that was one of the questions we asked starting it out, was how do you really live up to that name, that category, that genre of crypto pet? Well, you would want to have on-chain transactions. And is there a way where we could track how often you have an on-chain transaction with your NFT? In our case, we call it petting. That's why you pet your Aavegotchi, or change its clothes. Like those are on-chain transactions. So that's some of the questions we started with. I always tell founders that are looking to get into the NFT space, like, just don't get too tunnel vision. There's so much that's unexplored. You know how they talk about DeFi and money Legos? Like the composability of all these different applications can be arranged or put together in interesting ways that that make the sum greater than its parts. I think for NFTs, it's very much the same. Like we took the power of the Chainlink random number generator, a completely on-chain solution for trust, verified trust. We took that to create raffles around our NFTs. We saw the innovation happening with Avastars, where they made their visuals for the NFT 100% on chain. We said we have to do that. There's no compromise there. So look at what are the best practices, ask questions, get involved with as many different NFT projects as possible so that you can see who's just kind of like, you know, just mailing it in, not really trying hard, not pushing the boundaries. We're still so early here. There's like so much blue ocean to explore that it's really like it's almost easier to do something new than it is to copy somebody. So you might as well like just be willing to take some chances and break some of the norms and experiment with all this powerful tech.
Great question, Aziz Kevin Lee. Thank you for that question. Benya asks, which part of the game are you most proud of developing and why?
Ooh, initially I would have said it's the thing we innovated with BullionX before and continued with Aavegotchi, which is this idea of you can take value from elsewhere on the chain and wrap it in NFT. I think that's really important for every project going forward, and in some sense, that's like an amazing tool to have out there. But I think expanding on the idea of what a playable NFT is, and probably the DAO aspect of just how we introduced this kind of revenue sharing that you introduced at the beginning, Jason. I think that's like something we're very proud of because there was no precedent. It could have been any ratio we wanted, but we really wanted to incentivize that if you invest in Aavegotchis early, and by invest I mean you put your time and energy and your crypto, then the Aavegotchi is going to return it to you so long as you interact with your Aavegotchi, you treat it good, you earn it XP. So the way we've aligned incentives between taking care of your NFT and participating in the community, and then seeing 40% of the revenue come back to you, to your Aavegotchi for doing so, I think that's really, really powerful, and a lot of there's a lot of room to do more with that going forward. Not just with us, but I think we'll see more models like this.
All
Sure,
right.
hope so.
Final question is from Siva. Okay. Would you like to take this? Is there any particular inspiration why you chose a ghost as an Aavegotchi?
Yeah, so it relates to Aave in that Aave's logo is also a ghost, and it's a little bit different ghost, but also very cute. But it's not pixel art. So we kind of just did a pixel art version. We actually had a lot of iterations, but I'm so proud of the final design that our core summoner Javier, also known as Ziba on Twitter, he came up with, and it's just like everybody just receives it, and it seems to be, very, very unique. It just catches everybody, and I think that's so rare where you get some powerful design like that, a character that is so distinct. So yeah, it had to be a ghost once we knew Aave was on board, and yeah, I'm glad they've made for very fun characters.
All right. So it is now about 3 minutes from time. I'd like to thank Jesse. Jesse, thank you so much, okay, for being part of Southeast Asia NFT Week. And I know that you're extremely busy. So very happy that you're here with us today.
Thank you for having me, and I congratulate you and Access on everything you guys are doing this month. I think it's really important work, and hopefully, we can look for more ways where we can kind of, like you said, defomo. And I really like that term. I learned a new term today, and defomo, and also like find ways to educate through playing. So if we can contribute in some way to that, then we're doing our job.
All right. So thank you everyone, okay, for attending. Now, before we end, we have a special giveaway, right? Okay, that is an Aave swag pack, okay? Proof of bag and proof of socks to one lucky winner. Okay, and I am going to spin the wheel, right?
Ooh.
Okay, to determine who that winner is. Okay, so I put on the names of those people who ask questions and pick them are up already. Okay, let's see. We have everyone. I think we have everyone. Okay, so good luck, everyone. Okay, I'm going to spin the win
Here we
right now.
go. This is cool.
And the winner is Siva just pipped Mashat. Congratulations, Siva. So Siva, if you like to claim your prize, okay, please do it ASAP. Okay, latest by Friday. Remember, admins of Bitcoin Malaysia Access would not DM you first. You need to DM us first. DM us, show us proof, okay, that you are indeed Siva, Nathan Siva, who has attended this, right? Give us your full name, mobile number, okay, and the shipping address so that this can be shipped directly from Aave in London directly to your doorstep. So congratulations, Siva.
That's super cool.
Also, a few more announcements, okay, before we end today is that do remember to collect your proof of attendance token by joining the Discord. Remember, the secret code is Malaka6, Melaka 6, Malaka 6. Are also happening next week. Next Tuesday is a blockchain bootcamp. If you like Aavegotchis, okay, and you like blockchain games, you want to skill up, right? This is the event to attend. It's a one-day event attended by a lot of people that you can learn from, including YGG Games, Sandbox, Sky Mavis, Red Fox, Engine, R Fox, and is hosted by MDEX. So register this now. I think the seats are pretty limited. If you are lucky, there might still be seats tomorrow, but don't wait on it. Scan the QR code and register now. So last but not least, okay, that concludes day number 2. Be back tomorrow for day number 3, where we have Ramon Govia, aka American 8, okay, who runs Myth Division. More on his story tomorrow about bringing NFTs, okay, the Bored Ape, into the mainstream media through comics and anime. So see you guys tomorrow.